Hello, everyone. What's up? First of all, thank you so much for allocating me the time. I know everyone's time is precious, so thank you so much for coming. Today, uh, you're going to be spending some time with me. My name is Khairul Hafiz Ismail. I'm the manager for the Sustainable Plantation Divisions in BBC or Bernard Business Consulting. Okay, so allow me to share some slides. Okay, screen. All right. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about how to manage carbon emissions in palm oil plantations. Okay. Um, Before we begin, I want to talk a little bit about myself. Okay. Who am I? So my name is Khairul Hafiz Ismail. These are some of the clippings from the timeline of my life. Okay. So I am an amputee, a one-legged guy, but I am not always an amputee. So I lost my leg in 2005. So next year I'll be celebrating my 20th anniversary of me losing my leg. Okay, so as you can see from the photo, I'm quite a guy who doesn't know how to sit still. So I do cycling, I run. Um, the little picture at the corner is me scaling Kinabalu in 2022. Okay, I'm also being featured in several newspaper clippings as well as television interviews. Okay, but what is relatable today is the picture below. Okay, so the picture of me wearing a white sorry, the picture of me wearing this white shirt is actually when I started my career in palm oil. So I started in 2005. I was attached to two public listed plantation companies and one non-listed. Okay, so that is 2005. I was there in Indonesia. At that time, I still have both of my legs. Okay, and then the palm oil mill that you see at the bottom there, that is in fact a floating palm oil mill. So we were the first to pioneer a floating palm oil mill because the land was pit pit soil. It wasn't suitable to have roads. So what we did was we constructed the palm oil factory or palm oil mills on pit. Okay, and then the picture at the bottom there is in 2020 this year when I did my MSPO or Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil auditing. Okay, so from the pictures you can tell that I'm somebody who is passionate in my whatever I do. I'm also uh, I also have close to 20 years experience in palm oil. So I started my career in milling, and then I was also stationed in estate operation. I ended well, I and then transition to sustainability and ESG. So you can say that I have an end-to-end experience in uh, palm oil. Okay, so these are the agendas that we're gonna be talking today. Number one, a brief introduction on the downstream of palm oil plantation operation, because let's be honest, not everybody who is watching this from the palm oil industry. So some of you might want to know what you say when you talk about downstream palm oil plantation operation. So we're going to go a bit brief on that. Next, we're going to identify the key sources of carbon emissions in palm oil plantations. Okay, so this is the topic that we're going to talk about today, which is the greenhouse gas or carbon emissions. So, what is exactly, how is, if you are a plantation owner or attached to the plantation industry, what are you doing in your day-to-day operation is actually contributing to the greenhouse gas emission or carbon emission. Okay, next we're going to see what are the current approach and are they really successful in reducing your carbon emission. Well, to be fair, efforts have been put uh, to make our palm oil industry more and more sustainable. We were the first to introduce zero burning and whatnot. So we're going to talk also about that. What are the current approach? And lastly, we're going to talk about some new innovations that can be considered, so that you are on the right track in your decarbonization journey. Okay, and then after that, we're going to conclude, and I'm going to open the floor for some Q&A. All right. So let's. Okay. So before that, the next live session is going to be on the 30th of October. Interesting topic, Malaysia's budget. So, and this will relate to a lot of people. So don't forget to tune in on the 30th October. Okay. All right. So let's go. Agenda one, brief introduction on the downstream palm oil plantation operation. Okay. So, briefly, this is the process flow of how a palm oil started with the baby, which is or the seedlings, all the way up until the final product, which is the crude palm oil. So these are the considered as the downstream palm oil process flow. Okay, so we started off with a nursery where selected seedlings, uh, picked for your palm oil estate. Okay. Nowadays, all the seedlings have been, optimized to give the maximum amount of yield. Okay. And next is the planting. So this planting exercise is subjective from company to company, from operator to operator, but overall they carry about the same SOP. And next is your field upkeep. So you already have the baby and then you already planted it. Now you have to ensure that it grows well so that you can yield a proper fresh fruit bunch, okay, or FFB. So some of the activities are fertilization, spraying, which is pesticide, and then pest and disease control. So if you look at the pest and disease, you have that nice white owl. So there nowadays a lot of companies are adopting a more organic pest and disease control, which is good. Okay. Next is the harvesting exercise. So yeah, this is a very important uh, activity in your estate. So this will ensure that your fresh fruit bunch or FFB is evacuated or harvest efficiently. Okay, and then you take it to the palm oil mill where your fresh fruit bunch is processed to become crude palm oil. Okay. Uh, I would like to remind the crowd that if you have any question, don't forget to type in the Q&A, and then I will answer it at the end of the session. Okay, then agenda two is to identify the key sources of carbon emissions in palm oil plantation. All right. So this is the key sustainability talking points in 2024. Why? Because starting from this year, for public listed entity, Bursa has mandated in your sustainability report, you have to report your greenhouse gas emission for financial year 2024. So everybody's busy now trying to find people to assist them, or maybe they already have an in-house personnel who can calculate or inventorize your greenhouse gas emissions. But this is a very, uh, you know, busy and exciting time because a lot of people have not yet, you know, inventorized the JG. But for palm oil, we have started inventorizing our a simple way of showcasing your JG because it's part of the MSPO and RSPO requirement. Only, but the way we inventorize is very simple. We follow the RSPO JG calculator whereby you just plug in your production numbers and poof, the emission numbers come out. But there is a more elaborate way, and you should know where your emission comes from. So this is the breakdown of GHG or greenhouse gas in palm oil. As you can see in palm oil, the blue section is actually the scope 1 emission. Uh, and then the orange is scope 2, and the tiny bit is scope 3. Okay, so now Bursa has mandated scope 3 calculation as well. Only out of the 15 category, Bursa only requested 2 lah. And for this example, we show one of the scope 3 category, which is business travel. So it's not that much. Okay, so scope 1 is a big contributing factor to the greenhouse gas in palm oil. If you can see, it encompasses close to about 95 to 98% of the total greenhouse gas emission. So what does scope 1, what is your day-to-day operation? How does it contribute to scope 1? So we can split it into two, mechanical and non-mechanical. So the mechanical is basically relating to your fuel usage. So of course, in estate, you have gensets to power your workers' quarters, your estate office, because most of the estates are located remotely, far from the grid. So the only way for you to generate your electricity is from gensets. Okay, boiler startup is for the palm oil mill because before you started processing, you need something to boost or start up your boiler. So most of the time people use diesel. But then after once the boiler has already been fired up, it's basically self-sustaining with your biomass or the waste from your FIB. So that's how palm oil mill is generating renewable. Okay, and then mobile vehicles and machineries. So this is all the estates, you rely on tractors, lorries, as well as vehicles such as pickup trucks for your, estate management. So this contributes to about 3%. Uh, and finally, refrigeration and air conditioning. Okay, this is quite small. But the bigger scope 1 emission is from the non-mechanical. So if you look here, fertilizer encompassing 32%, about one third of your greenhouse gas emission. Okay, so this is a very crucial talking point. So how can you reduce? Because you cannot reduce fertilizer. Fertilizer is an integral part of ensuring that your palm oil tree bears the right amount of fruit. So this is an interesting discussion point. And then biomass application here relates to once your palm oil mill or factory processes the fruit, the empty fruit bunch, what do you do with it? That empty fruit bunch is also emitting greenhouse gas. So that encompasses about 16%. Because if you look at a whole FFB fruit or palm oil fruit, we call it FFB, which is fresh fruit bunch, 23% is the empty fruit bunch. So out of 100% of your FFB, 23% is the empty fruit bunch. So this is also a contributing factor to your scope 1 non-mechanical emission. And also the next is the biggest contributor, which is open lagoon. So in your farm oil factory, your effluent waste or your final waste, processing waste, it turns into effluent, a liquid state. So these effluent ponds, you put your liquid into a pond, and typically that's how the palm oil mill works. So these encompass 45% or the biggest methane or greenhouse gas contributor in your day-to-day operation. So this is also something that everyone wants to, get into focus. And then your scope two is grid electricity consumption, not much because, like I said, the palm oil plantation, the estate is too far remotely, so you generate your electricity using diesel genset. Or if your estate has a mill, sometimes the mill can also power your housing. So it's either you use diesel genset or renewable energy from the mill. So that's why it's not very big, about 2% only. And finally, the sample for business travel is also about 0.03%. Okay, so these are all the breakdown of greenhouse gas in your day-to-day operation. Okay, now how do you identify? Okay, you already know that you have a greenhouse gas. You are emitting greenhouse gas in your day-to-day operation. So I think the first step that you need to do is inventorize the greenhouse gas. Okay, for PLC, public listed company, there's no running away. You guys have to do this. But for, medium to small palm oil, operator, I think it's nice, or it's a good that you start to identify your greenhouse gas sources. So I've presented in my previous slide what are the major contributor. So now you can identify the greenhouse gas sources. Next is you collect the activity data. Okay, meaning last year how much diesel have you consumed? How much fertilizers did you bought for your plantation? Okay, these are the activity data, and then you quantify the GHG emission according to the GHG protocol, and then you can get how many tons of CO2 emission you produce every single year. Why is it important to develop a GHG inventory other than it's being regulated by Bursa for PLC? Well, for you to start reducing, you must first know how much are you developing or are you emitting. For example, uh, if you want to reduce your sugar intake in your coffee or in your drink, you first have to know per day how much sugar you're taking. How many times, how many cups of teh tarik or cappuccino? No, not cappuccino. Hot chocolate are you consuming? Then okay, oh, wow, per day, I'm drinking 5 cups of teh tarik. So then you can start reducing. But if you don't know how many cups of sweet drinks you're drinking, how can you start reducing sugar? It's the same thing. So for you to reduce your greenhouse gas, first thing you must know how much the greenhouse gases am I producing. Is it correct? Do I have an effluent pond? Do I have an open lagoon? Oh, I'm just an estate. I don't have any mill. So my major contributor would be diesel and fertilizer. So then you can start reducing. So that's why it's important to develop a GG inventory. And don't forget to contact us because we know how to help you to inventorize your greenhouse gas. All right, next is agenda three, which is what are the current approach and are these really successful in reducing your carbon emissions? Okay, let's not deny the fact that a lot of companies, a lot of plantation operators have started their decarbonization journey. Okay, um, so firstly, they want to reduce diesel. Okay, so as I mentioned before, one source of the scope one emission is diesel. Okay, because you use diesel, to run your genset to power your housing. Okay, so I stated here the average 200 plus workers quarters. Normally, you will use a 175 kVA or 200 kVA genset. Okay, so this contributes not only to your greenhouse gas, also to your diesel cost, which is a recurring operational cost. And now, as the fuel prices increase, I guess it's high time for you to think of a way to reduce your diesel. Okay. So what are the current approach? So normally what people do now is they replace the genset with renewables. And the current popular renewable choice is solar, because we are lucky here in Malaysia, we get about 4 to 5 hours of optimum sunlight, not during the monsoon season. But, so those are quite ample to actually power up your workers' quarters. Lah. Okay, so the pro, I wrote here, the pro is savings on diesel, which is part of your annual OPEX. But the con is no, I wouldn't say con lah, but some of the limiting factor is the high initial capex. So for you to replace your 200 kVA genset, then it might be quite a big cost, lah. But there is a way, there is new innovations coming to help mitigate this issue. Okay, next is reducing methane from POME, which is palm oil mill effluent. Okay, so basically, like I said, POME, and the easiest way to calculate how much POME or effluent you are generating is about 1 ton of FFB process constitutes to about 1 ton or 1.2 ton of POME. So on average, 60 ton per hour produces 430,000 ton of POME per year. And that's why POME or effluent contributed to around 45% of your scope 1 emission. Okay. So you see the top picture is basically the raw stage of POME, and the bottom picture is basically after it's being processed and being through retention time, so it can become quite watery, quite clear. Uh, all right. So how do you reduce methane from POME? So the popular approach is biogas. So what you do is you trap your methane from your ponding system using a blanket, and this will you trap your gas from being emitted to the atmosphere, and you harness that methane gas. So one of the advantage of this biogas is you can generate renewable energy from the methane. So instead of using diesel to power your genset, you can use methane. This methane will be processed first to run a gas engine. Okay, and the additional power, you can use to power the workers' quarters, or some organization use it to inject back to the grid and get additional income for your organization. All right. So next is new innovations that can be considered in your decarbonization journey. So now I've already given two examples: how to reduce your diesel and how to reduce methane from your POME. Okay, what are other things that can be done? So what are the other contributing factor to your JG is fertilizer. Okay, so future innovation. So now another scope 1 emission source is fertilizer. Okay, so how do you actually mitigate this? You cannot reduce the number of fertilizer, but number one, what you can do is you can better manage. Okay, so if you go to majority of the plantation, um, because of you know lack of monitoring, I wouldn't say no monitoring, lack of proper monitoring and management, some of the fertilizer are not being applied properly. You see, in a palm oil estate, you have many rows of trees uh, connected by the main road. So sometimes these workers, they only applied the first 5 rows because these are the rows that can be seen. But the remaining rows, sometimes they don't apply. So what do you do? So the number one, your estate is not benefiting from the actual fertilizer that they need. Number two is you're wasting fertilizers. See, that's why some organization, they normally ordered or they applied more than what is the industry has set the standard. Whereby if you applied it properly, so it's enough. Uh, So by managing it properly, so you don't have to order extra. So for example, you order say 10 kilo per pump per tree. Okay. Whereby the industry standard always say what, 8. So the difference of 2 kilo per pump, if you multiply by the total number of palm tree, that is the savings that you can get from your fertilizer, better management. Okay, you don't need to change. Maybe you can get better fertilizer, but first of all, you manage your fertilizer properly. Make sure it's applied properly so that all your palm tree can enjoy the benefits of the fertilizer. And then, you know, you can see reduction. So by reducing your fertilizer, you're reducing your scope 1 emission. Next is the usage of organic fertilizer. Okay. Okay, organic fertilizers are less, harmful and less emitting than the um, chemical fertilizer. But there is a pro and con there as well, because with organic fertilizer, you need to have more volume to get the same result as chemical. Okay. However, for both of the thing I mentioned, which is a better management of your chemical fertilizers or usage of organic fertilizers, we here at BBC, we have the solutions for that. So don't forget to contact us. Next, future innovation that I want to share is the electrification of estate operations. I've been preaching this, I don't know, for the past 5 years. you know, the usage of diesel in tractors, in genset, no, in tractors, in lorries, these also contributes to your diesel costs as well as your scope 1. So now the EV technology has becoming more mature and more efficient, and companies are already offering EV tractors and EV lorries. So it's high time for you to convert. And then you say, oh, nah, EV, then we need to worry about range and, charging. You see, in estate, we don't have to worry about range because the tractors or the lorry have a set amount of route daily, and you don't really need a 500-kilometer range because you won't travel 500 kilometers in a day, okay, in your EVs. And then in terms of charging, if your estate is connected to palm oil mill, you already have excess power from the biogas. So you can use the power generated from your methane capture, which is biogas. You can use that to power your EV. So you have a true sustainable, in ecosystem. So you have a renewable energy powering your EVs. Okay. So this is one way. All right. So another innovation that I want to share is now there are technologies whereby you don't need big square footage of area to put your solar. Okay, we have a partners who is doing solar plus a more efficient power bank. I would call it power bank or batteries, whereby this power bank is not your pump size power bank. It's a big power bank that can replace your 200 kVA genset. So because of the big power bank, so you don't need that big of an area for your solar. And nowadays, I was informed last week, one of our partner, they can provide solar panel that can also generate electricity not only through sun ray but also the heat. So solar technology and battery technology are maturing and getting better day by day. So this is the high time for you to um, consider this as a total overhaul of your estate operation. Okay. And again, don't forget, we here at BBC, we can assist you in your journey. All right. Okay. So, as a summary, so basically today, um, what I what I've already talked about is identification of the sources of greenhouse gas emission in your day-to-day operation. Okay, what has been done, and moving forward, what can be done. Okay, so I guess that's I want to wrap it out here because I want to proceed to the Q&A session. Thank you so much. Okay, all right. Oh, sorry. Okay, stop screen. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So I see that there's a lot lots of questions. So I will address uh, some of them. Okay. Okay. So we take the first question from Mr. Luke Chuntat. Okay. In your past experience, is the emission figures produced has it been audited by third party or subject to third party assurance? Okay, good questions. Okay, nowadays for PLC, public listed company, Bursa, has required a third party assurance to ensure that the numbers, the GHG that is being reported is actually true. So yes, now emission figures has been audited and assured by third party. Okay, next is from Sabine. Okay, all right. Okay, so Sabine is not a question. Thank you, Sabine, for joining, and thank you for um, uh, being here. Okay, oh yeah. Okay, so Sabine asks, okay, all right. Okay. So Sabine is also saying that utilizing methane capture from okay. So this is an option for the gas engine from European counterpart. Okay. Okay. So again, Mr. Luke Chuntat asking, what is the name of the GHG calculator you mentioned for palm oil emission calculation? Okay. So you can Google RSPO GHG palm. So it's a simple calculator developed by RSPO to assist plantation owners in calculating their greenhouse gas emission. Okay. Do you also help from Sabine? Do you also help to comply with EUDR? Okay, okay, all right, okay. That's a good question, Sabine. That is the hot topic being discussed amongst plantation companies. Okay, which is the EU Deforestation Regulation. Okay, so a lot of people are still in the trying to find a footing and grasping what is UDR, how can it affect. uh, so for example, I'm a smallholders with only say 10 hectares of uh, estate. Am I going to be affected with UDR? The answer is yes, because UDR is covering throughout the supply chain, from the refinery all the way up to smallholders. Okay, so yes, we have we here at BBC we have partners who can assist in your EUDR journey and helping you to comply with the EUDR regulation. Bit long for me to talk about it here, but please keep in touch. Contact us at BBC, and we will, discuss further on this. Okay, next is Mr. Luke Junta again. Okay, Bursa Rekat Third Party Assurance, in which document mentioned. Okay, I think you can look into the Bursa Third Reporting Guide. Under the Bursa Third Reporting Guide, there is mention there on assurance. And if you look at some of the PLC's sustainability reporting, they have included third-party assurance. All right. Okay, we're still open for more questions, guys. Okay. Okay. One from Jasin. Will the EUDR implementation affect the existing JJ emission reporting practices? Well, it's like the previously it was the NDPE, or no deforestation, peat and exploitation, whereby plantation companies have to abide to the guidelines set under the NDPE. Uh, by doing that, you cannot deforest. You have to have a certain percentage of conservation, no more pit development. So those actually help in, uh, you know, further improving your or reducing your GHG emission, in the sense that if you have a certain area of conservation, okay, as the trees grow bigger, it can sequester more carbon. So of course, in terms of the bigger carbon offset, carbon you emitted versus carbon you actually offset, or negative carbon. So it does. I would foresee that with this EUDR, it will affect the existing GHG emission reporting practices. Okay, any more questions, guys? Come on. I'm Okay. Are there viable organic fertilizer options that can effectively replace chemical fertilizer without compromising palm oil productivities? The answer is yes. We have a partner with established. We have partnered with an established organic fertilizer company. Please contact us to know more. Next question. Any more question? Um, Now, while waiting for question, I think I wanted to talk also about the electrification of estate operation, because um, other than EVs, vans, and not EV van, EV lorries and EV tractors, a lot of companies are already rolling out electric, mini tractors, as well as um, electric wheelbarrow. If I went to the recent palm oil expo that was done in the KL Convention Centers, there are more than one. No, no, sorry, more than one company who is offering EV wheelbarrow to assist. So this EV wheelbarrow not only it helps with your labor, meaning because it's motorized, you can carry more fruits inside the wheelbarrow. But it is also a way of reducing, because sometimes some estate, they're using motorcycle and then carrying the wheelbarrow, which is not the right way. But you see, by using this EV wheelbarrows, EV mini tractors, you see, people are slowly transitioning into electrification or electrifying um, their estate operations. So I think this is the future. We cannot run away from it. So um, I guess we have to embrace it. Okay. There's one more question. Okay, how to get buy-ins from smallholders to implement greener practices in their estate? Well, this is already being implemented nowadays with MSPO, as the government requiring the smallholders to, abide with the MSPO requirements. So, because the smallholders are part of a bigger supply chain, now you know, palm oil mill where they send their fruit are also, requiring them to follow the MSPO requirements, which is for them to become more sustainable, to show that they have you know following all the ESGs in terms of social um, minimum wage and whatnot. So I guess it's not a difficult ways to get a smallholder buy-in. All right. Okay. So I guess I've been talking a lot today. I hope everyone has been listening diligently. I'm gonna wrap up my session, but before that, I would want to, you know, put a plug or advertise our next live, which is on October 30th, which is on our budget 2025. Okay, so the highlight would be on the carbon tax, energy efficiencies, and anything related to what was mentioned during the budget. So don't forget to join us, everyone. This is going to be an interesting topic, um, because it's going to affect most of us, if not all. Okay, so I guess I have been speaking for the past 45 minutes. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening. It's a pleasure, and watch out for more live from me. And again, I want to reiterate, if you have any questions or concern or anything that solution you are looking for your plantation, palm oil plantation, do reach out to us. Okay, you can go to the BBC website or find us on LinkedIn. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. I guess that's it. I'll see you guys on the next live. Bye.